If you've made homemade ice cream, odds are you've made a few batches that freeze too hard, especially if you're making very plain flavors that don't involve any alcoholic extracts. Today, I'll share with you a few tips that will make homemade ice cream soft and scoopable straight out of the freezer overnight, much like the commercial ones, without altering the flavor with alcohol or more sugar and fat. I'm working with the Fior Latte Gelato base. Word for word, it means flour of the milk. In Italy, it confusingly describes both mozzarella and gelato that highlight the natural flavor of the milk. The ingredients include just milk, cream, and sugar. No vanilla, no egg yolk, nothing to distract from the fresh dairy goodness. As a result, it is very prone to freezing hard, often with noticeable ice crystals, even if it came out of the ice cream machine perfectly creamy. The first and easiest remedy is to substitute granulated sugar with powdered sugar. Also known as confectioner's sugar, these fine sugar powders have cornstarch added in to prevent clumping. You want to heat this batter to 72 Celsius, the temperature for starch gelatinization, about 2 to 3 minutes in the microwave. Boiling actually changes the flavor of milk and is not recommended here. Condensed milk and evaporated milk are not good substitutions here for the same reason. The heated batter will appear subtly but noticeably thickened by a very light starch slurry. For control, I'm making the same recipe with granulated sugar, heated similarly to dissolve the sugar. Now, individually, the difference isn't super obvious. I tell you up close this batch is ever so slightly runnier, but I know you're not convinced. So here's the spoon dipping test to see how well each batch coat the back of the spoon. See how much faster the control batch is falling off the spoon, while the thicker, starchier batter is clinging to the spoon well after the other one mostly fell off. Confectioner's sugar is only 3% cornstarch. Feel free to add more to your liking, or use plain sugar with potato or tapioca starch, heated to their respective gelatinization temperature. Now with the starched batter as base, I'm splitting it into two to show you another set of comparisons. First up is corn syrup. Invert sugar syrup in general are very effective at preventing crystallization and creating a smooth texture. Corn syrup is easy to find and relatively flavor neutral, compared to, say, honey and golden syrup, making it a versatile addition to any icy treat. Just be mindful that in higher quantities, it does affect the taste. Start with 1 tablespoon per cup of gelato mix and adjust as needed. This should coat the back of the spoon well. An even more potent addition is maltodextrin. A couple spoonfuls can turn the mixture into a pudding. Use scantly and go with volume instead of weight for small amount. This is so effective in providing creaminess that it is often commercially used as a fat replacer. A study at Penn State University tested replacing different amounts of fat with maltodextrin in ice cream and found that they can reduce a 14% fat recipe to 6% while making up for the remaining 8% with maltodextrin, and yield similar scores from blind tasters. This means you could triple the milk to cream ratio from 2 to 1 to 6 to 1 and still get satisfactory result, apparently. Side by side, the maltodextrin mixture is almost similar to condensed milk, while the corn syrup only mixture is closer to evaporated milk. Now the last common add-on is guar gum. Primarily used as a stabilizer in ice cream to keep water in a mixture well emulsified and prevent ice crystal growth. It is less potent than some gum, thankfully. A tiny pinch, less than 1/8 of a teaspoon will do. Gums are almost too potent at increasing viscosity. They easily cross from pleasant to off-putting. In tiny doses, they maintain consistent, homogeneous texture over extended storage in freezer. Home freezers, by the way, that get lots of temperature fluctuation from getting opened and closed constantly. They're not must-haves, but are showing up more frequently at grocery stores now and a small pack pretty much lasts forever, because again, I cannot stress this enough, you're going to want to use them very sparingly. I learned a lesson with too many gummy sauces and dressings that are very upsetting waste of good ingredients. Now it's time to churn. I got a Cuisinart compressor ice cream maker so I don't have to plan ahead. And I was curious about the Gelato peddle, which is supposed to incorporate less air than American-style ice cream. Can't say that I'm thrilled or disappointed with the peddle. I feel like with Gelato, the base matters a lot more than the peddle in my experience. With the compressor, no overnight chilling is required, but this batch is chilled because I didn't have the willpower to shoot everything in one take. Churning time is usually no more than 30 minutes in my experience. Check on them every 10 minutes or so. You should see icy mixture gradually form around the edge of the mixing bowl. One thing to note is that the more viscous the mixture, the more it will climb the wall as it freezes. So overshooting the thickeners may cause the mixture to spill over in the churning process. Now for the texture check. It should be very smooth with just a tiny bit of stretch if you look for it, which should be negligible to anyone who's not actively looking. You want just enough viscosity so the batch freezes soft, but not so much that it imparts a detectable sticky mouthfeel. The flavor here is so fresh and clean and will remain this way after overnight freezing. This tastes no different than the 3 ingredients batch. You won't notice the small amount of cornstarch or syrup. If you're enjoying them as soft serve, try use a chilled bowl or waffle cone. They melt extra fast with room temperature bowls. I froze both the test and control batch for comparison, and you know the results. Nailing the perfect Fior de Latte at home is like making cacio e pepe just right. Simple in theory, likely not easy on the first few tries, and so exhilarating when you finally get it right. If you shared my frustration with brick-hard homemade ice cream, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't.